September 15, 2008, 7th Avenue, Manhattan. Employees of Lehman Brothers carry cardboard boxes out of a glass tower past a wall of television cameras. Inside those boxes are 158 years of history. By 9 in the morning, Lehman Brothers Holdings has filed the largest bankruptcy in American history. The firm owes more than $600 billion. To understand how a bank older than the telephone collapsed in a single weekend, you have to go back 4 years, to a decision made in a boardroom that seemed, at the time, almost routine. In 2004, Lehman's leadership decides to push harder into a business already booming across Wall Street, mortgage-backed securities. The bank buys up subprime lenders. It bundles risky home loans into bonds and sells them to investors around the world. For a while, the strategy works. Lehman's stock triples. Its profits set records year after year. But the loans underneath those bonds are getting weaker. Lenders are approving mortgages for buyers who cannot prove their income. Because housing prices keep rising, nobody worries. Then in 2006, home prices in the United States begin to fall. Slowly at first, then faster. Homeowners who cannot afford their payments start defaulting, and the bonds built on those payments start losing value. By early 2007, cracks appear across the mortgage industry. Lenders start failing. Lehman's CEO, Richard Fuld, insists the firm's exposure is manageable. Internally, risk officers disagree, but their warnings are overruled. Lehman keeps its mortgage holdings on the books, betting the market will recover. It does not. In March 2008, Bear Stearns, a rival investment bank, nearly collapses and is sold in an emergency deal brokered by the Federal Reserve. Wall Street takes notice. Investors start asking which bank is next. Lehman's stock begins to slide. Through the summer of 2008, Lehman searches for a buyer or a bailout. Executives fly to Korea to court the Korea Development Bank. Talks collapse in early September. Lehman's stock drops 45% in a single day. By the second week of September, federal regulators, including Treasury Secretary Henry Paulson, summoned the heads of major banks to the Federal Reserve building in downtown Manhattan. Over that weekend, they tried to broker a rescue, the same way they saved Bear Stearns months earlier. Bank of America looks at Lehman's books and walks away. British bank Barclays negotiates through the night, but British regulators refuse to approve the deal in time. By Sunday evening, September 14, there is no buyer, and the government refuses to put up public money. Paulson tells Lehman's leadership there will be no bailout. This time, Lehman is on its own. At 1:45 a.m. on September 15, Lehman Brothers files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. When markets open hours later, the Dow Jones Industrial Average falls 504 points, its worst single-day drop since the attacks of September 11. Lehman's collapse freezes credit markets worldwide within days. Banks stop lending to each other, unsure who else might be holding worthless mortgage bonds. Money market funds, considered among the safest investments in the world, start losing value because they had lent money to Lehman. Panic spreads from Wall Street to Main Street in a matter of days. Companies cannot get short-term loans to make payroll. The stock market loses trillions of dollars in value within weeks. Congress passes a $700 billion bailout package to stop other banks from following Lehman down. Unemployment in the United States climbs past 10% within a year. Millions of homes go into foreclosure. Richard Fuld testifies before Congress, defending his decisions, insisting Lehman was a victim of the crisis, not its cause. Investigators later find that Lehman used an accounting technique to temporarily hide $50 billion in debt from its own balance sheet just before the collapse. The technique has an internal code name few outsiders had ever heard before that September. Repo 105.